Faith and Family Fellowship Podcast is a Christ-centered podcast. Established in 2019 and hosted weekly by Pastor Chris Busher. Addressing a host of topics such as the Great Commission, Christian discipleship, and often featuring interviews with special guests who are experts in their field. The views and events expressed on this podcast and all related materials belong solely to their author and not necessarily to the author's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. While all attempts are made to present accurate information, some information may become outdated over time. Faith and Family Fellowship Podcast makes every attempt to timely update any and all such information. Without further delay, here's another powerful episode of Faith and Family Fellowship Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Faith and Family Fellowship Podcast. Once again, my name is Dallas here. We have another incredible guest joining us with an incredible story, Mr. Brandon Richard. Such a pleasure to have you here today, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. So I'll just start by saying that I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I grew up in a really rough scene, right? I was basically locked up. I've seen a similar thing called Kids for Cash in Pennsylvania, where judges were locking up some children against their parents' wishes. What we had in Albuquerque, New Mexico, back when I was growing up, was a situation where mostly Native American parents who were already receiving free money would be able to receive some more and not have to do their job. And there were these different juvie jails, we'll call them, where they could kind of sign their kids into incarceration. So from 5 to 17, most of my time was spent like that. And they were drugging us too. So I had a real problem with my mother for a long time. And then I tried to work through that, and mostly when I found out that I was having a kid on the way, right? So when I found out I was having a kid on the way, I really cleaned my life up. You know, I was a gang member. I was in a bad way. You know, I had several criminal businesses, and so I got rid of all that stuff and spent about 9 months cleaning out my whole life. And then I joined the United States military and got baptized. And when I got baptized, an important mention about this is I prayed. You know, I started paying my tithing. I started doing all these things about 6 months before I got baptized, and took everything on faith. And I said, hey, God, if I changed my whole life, I was a prince in Albuquerque at this time, by the way. You know, no, didn't mean to leave. And I said, if I'm going to leave everything that I've built my entire life, coming from where I came from, and take this on faith and everything, can you please have the most graduated, highest ranking spirit in your army there present at my baptism? Well, when I came out of the water, the missionaries were supposed to speak and all this stuff, you know, for the ceremony, right? Nobody could talk. Everybody's lips were shaking. The whole room was crying. I wouldn't want to tell this story. Like I don't think I'm anything special. You know, I think I had an answer to my prayers. That's what I think. And then a whole bunch of people who have been lifelong members of the church came up to me afterwards, a few people, and said, man, this is one of the most religious experiences, one of the most spirit-filled experiences I've ever had. And I just want to tell you that. And so I did not take my conversion lightly. I really held on for the next 14 years through this whole deployment. When you get out in Liberty, they have you on a buddy system where you can't leave your buddy, right, for safety reasons. So I would actually sit in the room of you know, whorehouses, all the girls offering to give it to me for free, because I'm just saying no. I would have to go to bars. Guys are getting wasted. I'm not touching anything, you know. And even on the USS Carl Vinson, 10 months deployed in the Persian Gulf, I was in church every week. And I really kept my faith. And I was in my daughter's life, taking her to church every other weekend until she was 10 years old. When she was 10 years old, my uncle was murdered in Panama. And I was flipping houses. I had 10 houses rented. I was making about $8,000 free and clear a month. Everything was good. I had 2 motorcycles, 4 trucks, 6 LLCs, about a couple million in equity, and some student rental buildings. I had the #1 Google search result for Temple University off-campus housing, and tons of people throughout everything I'm telling you can bear witness to all of this and said, who is this kid who came out here from Albuquerque and just started, murdering the student housing student housing building scene, right? And so, I did this incredible job. I came to collect the body of my uncle in Panama. I'm coming to you from Panama right now. And this is 12 years ago now. I came to collect the body of my uncle and my kid's mother, all out of nowhere. I hadn't gone anywhere near her for 8 years. Out of nowhere, just start saying he's a monster, he's abusive, put all these false allegations against me, and also a false claim at a false address, so I'd never get the summons on a false amount of child support, which I had never missed or been laid on or anything for 10 years. At that point, my daughter was someone who was saying, my daddy this, my daddy that. I love my daddy. And then, and couldn't stop saying my name. I had taken her to Disney World the prior summer. My mom chopped off all her hair the day before I took her. Anyway, just tons of stuff, right? Very upset that I did not stay with her. And that her daughter got to go through all these great things. She has narcissistic personality disorder. She's basically an exact copy of Amber Heard. But I had a kid with her, so you could just imagine what would have happened to Johnny Depp had he had a kid with Amber Heard, right? So that was my situation. I fell out in a total terrible depression, and I couldn't wake up without wanting to kill everybody. I remember I went to get some hot sauce, and somebody stepped in front of me in the line, and I just started seeing so much red, and I actually left the city, and this angel had invited me to stay in a cabin in a permaculture farm. This is things I knew nothing about at the time, and it's this new alternative agriculture system that is the way of the future, I'm telling you, right? So, and I'll tell you about it here in just a second. So I went to this farm, and then I became obsessed with tropical nature and all the plant life that was there. And I went and now all the permaculturists, they knew this new alternative or ancient, they would use ancient things of farming too, right? But, and of course we're in the tropics, which is highly productive, but none of them had a 60 species. This is what I've come up with as a prerequisite for nutritional diversity diet, right? You can see this at nutritionaldiversity.com. The book is Nutritional Diversity, an Abstract of All Natural Human Optimization. And I'll be revising this over the years. That's on Amazon. But what happened, so everybody was eating healthy, but for some reason I was praying on my knees, like, God, get rid of this anger. I should have, if someone else would have kidnapped my kid, some older Jerry Springer family, for lack of a better way to put it, would have kidnapped my kid and taken her out and brainwashed her to hate me, I should kill them all, right? You know what I mean? Or something extreme like that, right? Or they should be in prison, by the system or something like that. So I actually had a feeling in every molecule of my DNA that I should be killing these people and protecting this child. And had I done so, she would not have this conflict. She would not be full of lies today. And she would have an excellent, incredible, adventurous experience, right? Instead of being a video game addict, she would have this incredible experience. She'd be allowed to be with the dad that took her all over the country to Disney World, all these different places, and got her home safe, right? She'd have just been allowed to do that. And these heinous things that happen to over 50 million kids probably now in the English-speaking world alone, right? Did not happen. But because they did happen, I was in such a traumatic state that I'm on my knees praying to God, saying, give me an answer. Somehow, like gift of tongues, it came to me, you need to be eating an evolutionary diet. right?
Yeah.
Genesis 1:29, I give you all seed-bearing plants to use as food. So I started using all the different wild plants that nobody was using and all these permaculture species that people were using, and I started comprising these highly diverse diet. And just right there alone, I started to heal. And I started to remember God, and I started to rebuild. And since that time, it's been a 1000% miracle journey of rebuilding. And I really truly think I had a PTSD mind crack, and I did, right? And I just was not able to think complete thoughts. I was not able to be social at all with anybody, and now I am clearly able to do these things a lot closer. I had an incredible charisma growing up, you know what I mean? Coming from the streets, you really get an ability like nobody else gets. And so I'm about at 75% now of what I used to be.
Wow. You shared so many amazing things throughout your story, and I'm so grateful that God saved your life and brought you through all those things. And I pray that things continue to get better for you and your situation and all
Thank
of
you for
those
that.
things.
You're listening to the Faith and Family Fellowship Podcast. We'll be right back after this quick word from our sponsors.
Unlock the secret of ancient prophecies with The Mashiach by Mark Stouffer. Dive into the Hebrew Bible's messianic predictions and explore whether they foreshadow the life and mission of Jesus. This insightful book is perfect for Jewish readers seeking truth about Jesus and Christians eager to learn about the Old Testament. Embark on a journey of discovery and faith. Get your copy of The Mashiach on Amazon today. Discover 313 Red, the ultimate app for conservative Christians. Connect with faith-driven businesses. Get daily news aligned with your values and enjoy inspiring faith messages. Stream Christian pop music for free and stay safe with Faith Guardian Protection. Join a community that shares your beliefs. Download 313 Red on Apple and Google Play. Visit www.313.red. A couple things you mentioned, I want to discuss this for our audience to just understand
Sure.
and break down what you're discussing here. Highly diverse and
Absolutely.
dynamic nutrition system. What is this? What does that mean? Define that for us.
Okay. So in simplicity, let's get 60 species that are cultivated plant species in addition to meat species. Okay. But 60 plant species as a minimum that we are going to get from permaculture sources. Everything in the grocery store right now is grown in monoculture farming, which is modern agriculture system, and this is going to get worse. Okay, and so this is a chemical and machine dependent farming system that actually kills the ground, the soil that the stuff is grown on, to where it has to be chemically replaced with the natural soil content, right? But it's not natural. They're sprayed with all these pesticides because to grow one species over and over and over for miles, that's not natural. Where we got the idea from, who knows? It wasn't from nature, right? And so permaculture is a permanent culture, like from nature, where thousands of different species and thousands of different insects and thousands of different bacteria and mycology are present, right? That can facilitate that wholesome, all natural growth, So we need to get so wild species are grown this way, and permaculture is grown this way. Permaculture was written by Bill Mollison back in 1960s, but I have become an expert in a system called biodynamic agriculture that was written by Rudolf Steiner back in the 1920s. But of course, we're just looking at God's system of growing. So you need to get the nutrition from there, and then at a correct diversity. That's the other thing that happens with this grocery store centrally distributed food agriculture retail system, is the narrow spectrum of things that are available. If you go to the grocery store right now, maybe you can get 12, maybe you can get 16 different things, right? But you need 60. You need 60. And animals out in the wild, in nature, they're getting even more, double or triple that. So I'm just finding a minimum. I say 60 as a minimum, right? And I tell people, all right, well, then get started with 30 if it's hard for you to put together 60, which it will. But if you get a hold of 5 permaculturists then you can sort of comprise that prerequisite
Are
diet.
there many out there? Like, do we see people like this?
It's a search term, man. There's a ton of them. Where are you in the States?
I'm in Texas.
Yeah, there's a ton in Texas. There's a ton around there. There's a ton in Colorado, big, big time. But now with United States shipping, you should be able to get it together really, really well up there.
Wow.
I've helped
And
a few
so
people do it. Yeah.
for us normal people out here, how can we do this? How can we take part in this and have healthier foods? Like you said, the wholesome foods.
Good question. Yeah, look up permaculture farms. It's going to take some work, but man, it's so worth it. You know, if you truly love your family, you'll take all these agriculture chemicals that have been scientifically linked to cancer, and you'll get those out of their diet. You know, water is number one. So I would say a gravity-fed water purifier, countertop water purifier is one thing I tell people to do right away. And then start searching the word permaculture. Find permaculturists and start asking them, what can we do to get your food to us? And then once you compile a whole bunch of, because this is a whole new ordering system, this is a whole new demand, there's a whole new supply, right? There's a whole new cultivation. But once you get it together, now you can start helping other members of your community and make a small business out of it, right? And get this food to other members in your community.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. I want to read some definition here. What this is for those out there who don't understand permaculture. This helps to increase soil health, removing the need for pesticides, herbicides, and chemical fertilizers. This result is a crop growth at the pinnacle of organic farming. Who doesn't want that, right? Who wants their food to be full of pesticides and everything else?
You know, I imagine in my mind, it will start with athletes first, because athletes will do anything to get Primo's nutrition coming in so they can get this crazy output, right? So this is, man, I mean, my athletic performance is off the charts. I'm a lifelong athlete. I've been boxing since I was a little kid, you know, and so, you know, I trained with Johnny Tapia when I was 15. My birthday was the same day as his mother's passing. So he took a real liking to me, and showed me a whole bunch of nutritional secrets like eating raw liver and just different things that they had at that time. But this clearly surpasses that. And, you know, all people think I'm on steroids. I've never taken a steroid, but my gym performance is just so outside of the realm because my diet is so outside of the realm. And so to answer that question just a little bit more about what the demand of this new agriculture system will do is it will, number one, add a great side to the climate change conversation. Number two, it will threaten major agriculture and existing business right now. So beware of that. But number three, if we can bring our agriculture system into a more natural vein, it will protect thousands of acres that are right now being chemically poisoned by airplanes and machines and large distribution vehicles, which is also affecting the pollination system. It's also affecting the insects, right? So we'll turn this whole toxic machine that's causing planetary health crisis and a human health crisis, right, completely around. So it will lower your medical bills. It will lower national medical crisis. It will take obesity right out of the picture, because what a lot of people don't realize is once we make a relationship with nature, we'll start to look at processed foods just right there in a whole different way. Once we make this natural relationship with nature, we'll start to garden in our own pieces of land. And kiddos who grow greens, eat greens, right? Like, wow, I grew that. You know, that is being from the land of enchantment, myself, watching the Native Americans be taken out as young people, and myself included, and learning how to grow plants and stuff. That's been completely removed from, society, culture, right? Human culture. So we really need to get that back in there and have a wholesome living that is not codependent on anyone, and is definitely not codependent on a toxic machine that is going to send you to the hospital.
Wow. Why do you believe that God showed you this?
I don't know, but I tell you this, it's been about 8 years since he did show me this, and it continues to scream to me every single day. So that whole website I've done, the book I've done, but I haven't really cared that much. I've been really more interested in advancing the science on the nuts and bolts ends. I really like to have my hands around the shovel. And throughout this process, I was getting up in the morning and asking God, what am I doing today? And that was my daily routine. And I actually found a mogul of fitness, Wes Watson. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He's becoming more popular. He's a whole nother story where he was incarcerated for 10 years, and God gave him a morning routine and certain secrets of system, right? So when I saw him on YouTube, he has a 2:30 a.m. wake up. So I've incorporated that into my life, this 2:30 a.m. wake up. I don't mean to get sidetracked, but yeah, I don't know. God definitely gave this to me very loudly. It has been a huge piece of my life. I don't think I would be in a situation today, working again, having, this awesome life that I'm starting to have again, had it not been for this diet. And I know for a fact that when you see kind of, these evil control freaks in Davos, Switzerland, thinking about how to make this monoculture, modern agriculture even worse, and even more, and put these more health constraints, and get your health from a syringe and a pill, and nope, we need to get our health. If you are eating this nutritional diversity diet, your immune system will be 1,000% ready for COVID, 1,000% ready for whatever thing. You will run through it like a train. This is the answer that we need to all these different things. It really truly is. And if you look at the way that it integrates win on every single side of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the scripture? We will know by the fruits of it. Well, I don't know if you can get any better fruits. Right?
Yeah.
Literally,
I love your
and
passion.
figuratively.
I love your passion in this. And I can definitely see that it's not just working for you, but you want it to work for other people as well. And so you're wanting to get that message out there. So I want to thank you for
Yeah, I
writing your
want to
book.
help people. I want to be a good Christian. I want to be a good person. And I know that this will help everybody with everything. And there's even a small business model here for where poor people, for being from Texas, being border states, we know that these young guys need another product to distribute at a cultivation level other than
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time here today. One more time, what is your website? How can we connect with you?
Okay, so I have a hardcore fitness channel now. For those of you who want to get super in shape, that's Instagram at Brandon Angel Fitness. I have a website, nutritionaldiversity.com. I really actually don't have anything to do with that website too much anymore, but it has all the information, and there's 2 Sadhguru yoga experts that are running that coaching program to help people get this diet all situated in their lives. The book on Amazon is Nutritional Diversity, an Abstract to All Natural Human Optimization. Maybe a link from this podcast will help it come up on the search, because it hasn't. Yeah. But if you put that whole thing, it will come up on the search. Well, I would just say nutritionaldiversity.com for this format of let's just say nature-based freedom revolution that we all need to really take your life to the next level.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time here today. Thank you so much. And I hope to have you back on the show another time to continue to update us on what's going on out there in the world and how you guys are making an impact. So I really appreciate it. This is the Faith and Family Fellowship podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right.
You've just listened to the Faith and Family Fellowship podcast. with your host, Pastor Chris Busher. Faith and Family Fellowship podcast was recorded live in studio with final editing made before uploading. Subscribe today to Faith and Family Fellowship podcast on iTunes or Google Play. For more fantastic daily content, visit Pastor Chris Busher online via Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Don't miss the next episode on Faith and Family Fellowship podcast.